always do by lighting the Shabbat candles. And for that, I'm going to invite Raz and Toon up here to the bima for the candle lighting blessings.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be amongst those who kindle light.
If you could just hit the space button, that'd be great.
Here.
Yeah. Thanks.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
All right, 18 Shabbat blessings for peace in Israel and Palestine. May this light embrace all who are suffering through war. May this light spread and reach toward the hostages and their families, wrapping them in a protective embrace. May this light illuminate paths of safety and shelter for the people of Gaza. May this light shatter barriers separating food and aid from innocent civilians. May this light open space for the people of Israel and of Palestine to process their grief and anxiety. May this light break open the barriers in our hearts. May this light soften anger and fear. May this light erase thoughts of revenge. May this light give us strength to stand up against extremists in power. May this light hold gently the traumas of our past and the traumas of our present. May all the people who call Israel and Palestine their home come together to grieve and witness each other's pain. May we transform our grief into solidarity. May our solidarity pave the way for a shared future. May we nurture the divine spark in ourselves. May that spark shine out to include our families, friends, neighbors, and all who live on earth. May the divine light from before creation inspire us to choose life. May this light empower us to build the future we want to see. May this light guide us on the path toward healing and peace. All right, we're going to turn to page 123 for the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon hinhilanu, zikaron lama'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom tehila lemekrae kodesh zeher litziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'harta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava uvratzon inhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. All right, we're going to turn now to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, tishmianu el ha-meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet ve'elitiha l'chadudi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesuka sof maseh, b'machasha v'tefila l'chadudi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kum yitzei mitoch ha'hafecha, Rav lakshevet be'emek habacha, vehu yachamol alarikem l'chadudi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi ve'et Adonai taritzi al yad ish ben partzi v'nismecha v'nagila l'chadudi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom al deret bala, gam besimcha u'betzohola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala l'chadudi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadudi likrat kala la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. All right, folks, we're going to turn in the book. You can turn back to the page 636 for Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Ananai Avarahaman, Mishul Avdecha, Eretz Onecha, Yarutz Avdecha kemo hayam, Yishachar in the book, we're going to turn back now to page 140 for Psalm 92.
Shabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי יסוד עלינה ולעלי היגיון וכינון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנין. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, elyon. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
And finally, we will turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
All right. Let's turn now to page 145, and we'll read together in English. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. All right. Let's rise now, if you're able and comfortable doing so, for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, Baruch Hu et Adonai, Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, whose word brings on the evening dusk. Your wisdom opens the gates of the dawn. You will the forward flow of the seasons. The stars keep their appointed place, bowing low to the one beyond the sun. You create the day and you create the night. You alternate the darkness and the light. You sweep away the day, you bring the night. You separate the one from the other. We call you El Shaddai, Adonai Tzebaot. You are the Elohim Chaim. Rule over us as you rule this good earth. Praised are you who brings the evening's peace.
All right, folks, feel free to have a seat. Now we're going to continue along with a version of Ahavat Olam by Rami Shapiro.
We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Oh, we are loved. We are loved. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Oh, we are loved. We are loved. We are embraced by arms that find us. Even when we're hidden from ourselves, we are embraced by arms that find us. Even when we're hidden from ourselves, we are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Oh, we are loved. We are loved. We are touched by fingers that soothe us. Even when we're too proud for soothing, we are counseled by voices that guide us. Even when we're too embittered to hear, we are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Oh, we are loved. We are loved. We are supported by hands that uplift us. Even in the midst of a fall, we are urged on by eyes that meet us. Even when we're too weak for meeting, we are loved by an unending love. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, and the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Love, we are loved. We are loved. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Love, we are loved. We are loved.
All right. We're going to turn in the book to page 152, and I'd like to invite you to rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the opening of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. All right, feel free to have a seat. Continuing on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Going to continue on page 158. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. All right, now for Hashkivenu. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Help us lie down, my dear one, in peace. Oh, help us to lie down in peace. Help us to rise up again to life.
to rise up to life. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Guide us, my dear one, with your good advice. Oh, guide us with your good advice. And save us, my love, for the sake of your name. Save us for the sake of your name. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Hide us, my love, in the shade of your wings. Hide us in the shade of your wings. For you are a God who protects and who saves. A God who protects and who saves. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Watch over our coming, watch over our leaving, for now and for all time. Blessed is the one who spreads your peace over us and all humankind. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. All right, folks. We are going to turn now to page 162 for Yismechu. Yismechu v'malchutcha shomrei Shabbat v'korei onek hamikdashei shevit kulam yisbehu v'yitangu yitu lecha yismechu v'malchutcha shomrei Shabbat v'korei onek hamikdashei shevit kulam yisbehu We are now going to turn to page 164. And again, I'm going to invite you to rise if you are able and comfortable doing so. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha
Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula livnei v'neihem leman shemo bi'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye metim ata rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye metim berachamim rabim, sahomech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim. All right, folks, feel free to have a seat if you'd like. And we'll continue on page 171. Let's read together in English. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Let's turn to page 173, and again we'll read. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. All right, folks, we're going to turn to page 174. Say Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amecha Yisrael, U'tefilatam be'ahava, to turn to page 176 now. And as we do, we're going to give folks an opportunity to share something they're feeling grateful about this week. So we'll begin by reading up at the top of the page in English, and then if you'd like to share something, raise your hand, and I think Ross is going to give the mic over to Robin here, and Robin's going to bring the mic around so people can say what they want to say and be heard. So let's read. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks.
I'm grateful again this week to have been able to have some fun in retirement, being able to do something by the spur of the moment. I went out to, some of you read it on Facebook, but I was already out to Owego for the first time since the pandemic started, and walked around and ate a snack and had lunch and looked in the stores, and it was just nice to be able to spend time just doing something that was pleasant and not having to worry about did I have to rush home. In fact, I even took the long way home so I could have an extra time with it.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for the fact that after weeks of trying and with the help of connections, I finally got the doctor's appointment I needed.
Glad to hear it.
I'm with you, Rachel. I hear that big time. It's been a week, but I'm very grateful that my whole family comes for July 4th every year and enjoys spending time together and with me, and it's always something to look forward to.
Thank you.
I am grateful that all of those who have been traveling have made it back safely and apparently have enjoyed themselves on their travels. We're very grateful for that. For Pam and I, we traveled through maritime Canada, and we celebrated Canada Day with the Canadians, a concert and a laser light show, and then we celebrated the 4th of July with Americans in Burlington before we got back to Binghamton. So I'm very grateful that we're all back safe and sound.
Sounds like a very patriotic time.
Thank you.
Anybody else who we didn't get to yet? Yeah. Anne-Marie says, I'm grateful to get the opportunity to be doing volunteer work at the local animal shelter and meeting some great people and really sweet and needy animals. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Sorry, who's pointing at what? Okay.
I'm grateful for all the help my children have been giving me for the move. I am completely overwhelmed, and half the time I'm walking in circles, so I am grateful for the help I'm receiving.
Thank you. Ross and I got to do a little trip last weekend, and I was really grateful to get a chance to spend some time together doing our thing. Usually we don't get up to much when we're on vacation, but that's kind of a pleasure in and of itself sometimes. All right, I think that's everybody. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulchana'el lehodot. All right, and finally, we're going to turn to page 179, and we'll read together again in English. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. All right, folks. I'm going to spend a moment now with our own personal prayers and reflections. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru amen. All right, folks. We're going to turn forward to page 371 now. For our prayer for healing. And this week we are praying for Raphael Alietti, Kathleen Al-Jalad, Terry Bennett, Elsie Deutsch, Betty Doer, Lee Foreman, Jesse Gilliland, Robin Haas, Jean Hecht, Sharon Kirsheimer, Holly Levine, Gwen Levy, Mike Martinez, Corey Mongan, John Muller, Rowan Nociolino, Deborah Pomeroy, Grayson Porter, Derek Real, Bryce Schmidt, Sherry Schwartz, Shmuel Emmett Ruvain Mibeit Avraham Vasara, Orly Shoer, Jennifer Stile, Liz Sussman, Rabbi Lance Sussman, Timothy Swindell, Elena Witter, and Gil Williams. And if you'd like to add someone's name to our healing prayers, just raise your hand.
Gladys Cunin.
Thank you. Yeah, you got it. I'm sorry. We got to wait for the mic to get around. Otherwise, the people on Zoom can't hear you. So that's how it works.
Was it you? Jesse Kirshner.
Thank you. All right. Evan, do you see anybody's hand up on the Zoom? Great.
Tony DiGirolamo, my stepfather.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu, mechor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We're praying for a refuah shalema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those we're holding in our hearts this evening. All right, folks, I'm going to share a couple of words with Torah with you here before we continue on with our service. It's double parsha this week, Matot Maseh. So Moses assigned to them, to the Gadites, the Reubenites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sichon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of King Og of Bashan, the land with its various cities, and the territories of their surrounding towns. That's Numbers 32, verse 33. So last weekend, as we referenced a couple of times in our Thanksgiving notifications, Americans in various ways and with various levels of enthusiasm collectively celebrated the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And it seems appropriate, therefore, that as we come to the end of the book of Numbers, we should spend some time wrestling with the realities of living on land taken forcibly from other people. So let's be specific. This is a subject that all too often gets diffused in generalities about people and things and Native Americans as a large group of people, Europeans as their own large group of people. Let's be specific. The land on which this synagogue is built, and indeed the entire city of Binghamton, is part of the ancestral territory of the Onondaga, a nation that forms part of the Greater Haudenosaunee Confederation, whose land extends across the greater part of what is now upstate New York. And I use the present tense here because despite the pronounced tendency in the U.S. among non-Native people to speak of Native peoples as if they are a relic of the past, as if they're gone, the Onondaga people are very much alive, and they have never relinquished their claim on their ancestral lands or ceased in their attempts to reclaim those lands, to reclaim sovereignty over those lands, and to exert stewardship over the care of those lands and to attend to the health of the land and to the creatures living on them. In 2005, the Onondaga Nation filed a lawsuit in federal court asserting that their lands were unlawfully taken from them by the state of New York. This case was never argued on its merits in court, as the court dismissed it on the grounds that a ruling in the Onondaga Nation's favor would be disruptive to the people of New York. Undeterred, the Onondaga have taken their case to the United Nations. This is not ancient history, in other words. This is current events. We are all a part of that story. Not only because we happen to live here in Binghamton and its environs, but also we specifically here. Because the Hebrew Bible, with its central narrative of invasion and displacement that's referred to in that verse I quoted just a moment ago, has had its role to play in shaping American thinking about colonization and the genocide of Native peoples. The Torah certainly does not mince words when it comes to acknowledging that Israel was living on land forcibly taken from others. On the contrary, the biblical authors justify and celebrate genocide by asserting the wickedness of the Canaanites and the divine chosenness of the Israelites, a viewpoint which bears a strong resemblance to American notions of manifest destiny, which served to justify colonial expansion with all its attendant violence. So why do I bring this up? The purpose of reflecting on these matters is not for we non-native people to get caught up in unproductive guilt. The purpose is rather to recognize that there exist alternatives to the violence which shaped and has continued to shape the conditions of our lives here in this country, in this state, in this city. I find it noteworthy that despite everything, the Land Back movement, espoused by members of many different Native American peoples today, tends to focus not on the eviction of non-natives, but rather on the restoration of Native sovereignty and care for the land. There's perhaps an important message here, that the highest, most urgent need is for us to learn to live insofar as we are able without destroying. without destroying the land, without destroying our fellow human beings and our fellow creatures, and without destroying ourselves. It sounds like a very simple, basic goal. And yet it's one that is very much worth our time and devotion in our lives at this historical moment that we're living in, as at any other moment in the history of this country. And so the thing that I'd like us to reflect on tonight is, what's the meaning? What meaning does it give? What is the significance in our lives of the fact that we are living on land that did not originally belong to our ancestors, but was taken from people who originally lived here? And what can we do as individuals, as a community, to not only recognize the history of how we came to be here, but to support the people who are very much still alive and thriving and being an active community, to support those people in their efforts to further their own self-determination and their own degree of sovereignty over lands that hold such a significant and sacred meaning for their people. So, just something for us to think about tonight. If you care to have a comment, feel free to raise your hand and we'll get the mic around to you.
This reminds me of a bit of what we've talked about before when we talked about reparations for slavery, which is not being just giving everything to somebody. We need to figure out a way that we can acknowledge the past of the United States. I particularly liked what you said about not wasting time on guilt that won't be helpful. I mean, it's to recognize what's going on, to find a way, especially because I could, I grew up with that, now it's probably considered a racist thing for the Indian who was crying, Native American who was crying when he saw all the pollution and all the terrible things. I know that some groups of Indians like to be called Indians, some prefer Native Americans. Sure. So I've seen both. But the idea is to do what we really need to do with reparations was to get together the groups and talk and find out what they're looking for, what we can do, and some way that we can find to keep our land healthy, unpolluted, clean air, clean water, all the kind of things that we need to keep our country going.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that connection, I will throw out here that I did quite a bit of reading for in the run up to doing this particular Devar Torah, because it's not really in my wheelhouse, right? My wheelhouse is Torah, not so much the history and current political situation of various Native American peoples in the United States. And one of the places that I happened to look was on the website that is currently maintained by the Onondaga Nation, which is available online, and they have quite a lot of information there about not only their nation's history, but also what they're up to these days in terms of trying to improve the environmental conditions of land here in upstate New York, and also what they're doing in terms of trying to assert and maintain sovereignty. And I highly recommend it. It's interesting reading, and it's also a good way to get educated about a segment of society that we honestly don't pay enough attention to.
We just spent a couple of weeks in Canada, and Canada is also a nation that was created through colonization. However, over the last, and I did not study this in detail except for the placards that I read in museums and sometimes out on the street, but over the last 2 or 3 or 4 decades, the Canadians have made an incredible adjustment to embrace their indigenous population. They've redrawn provincial lines a number of years ago. They've changed names. They've invited council members into the modern structure, for lack of a better expression, and their embrasure of protecting the lands, which is, as you've mentioned a couple of times, so important to Native Americans is just out there everywhere. And I'm not trying to speak, I'm not advocating breaking apart any of the states in the United States. I'm a New Yorker through and through, but they have somehow embraced the native cultures in a much more open and progressive way to just acknowledge that we were colonists and we did kind of take it from you, so let's work something out here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to respond to some of the things you just said. I've, about a year ago, read a book, which is now about 7 years old, which was about exactly some of the things you were talking about. And they weren't the way you were talking about them. And it was one of the things that the story was about, was the taking of the Native children and letting them be adopted by other Canadian families and not telling them their heritage or letting them know anything about that. That book is only about 7 years old, so what you saw was new, and I'm applauding it, believe me. But the book really spooked me when I read some of the things. I can't remember. I've got to figure out what it was. It was, and the whole thing of this book started out with the young woman being a Native child being adopted by a Jewish family. What did you say? That doesn't sound. But anyway, so I'm glad what he said, but I think we need to know that there is so much more to be done. And I know we did this in this country.
Sure.
We took the Native children.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely something that happened in the United States as well. And this is right why it's difficult to talk sometimes about these subjects in the sense like comparing is difficult, right? In that, I think we had a hand up here too. But yeah, it's difficult to make these comparisons sometimes, right? Because there are some respects, absolutely, in which the country of Canada has done maybe a better job in recent years of dealing with, with issues relating to First Nation sovereignty. And there's also a bunch of, ways in which Canada has definitely continued to fall short of the mark, right? So it's never, these things are hard to, to look at in terms of generalities and blanket statements, right? Because there's always, there's always one thing and another, right? But absolutely. I think Bruce had his hand up, and then Fable.
I was curious. I was listening to the words that the Onondagas stated about the land. And at no time did it indicate they wanted ownership of the land. They wanted stewardship of the land.
I think actually that stewardship may even be my word. I think that they've got their own ways of talking about these things that don't necessarily, use a very different set of vocabulary.
I was going to say that my limited knowledge of the Native Americans was that they didn't believe in land ownership, that they were the stewards of it. They were just living off of it, and you couldn't own the land. It was basically owned by everyone and all the animals.
True.
They respected that.
That's absolutely, I think, true for many different, Native American peoples. I think it's also the case that those peoples do, however, also claim sovereignty over particular areas of land, and those borders and boundaries were respected among different peoples as well, right? So that's certainly part of the conversation. But yeah, it's a very different concept of relationship to land, in the same way that the Torah, right, reflects a very different ideas to land and its ownership, right, than are the case in contemporary, capitalist America. Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like an important aspect of this is that people get very stuck on the idea of oh, well, this is something that is in the past and we should deal with it, but that it's not directly impacting people now, but it is obviously. Like, because when I graduated from my high school, our mascot at my high school was a racist caricature of an Indigenous American that included like symbolism meant to reference Indigenous culture that included several different cultures, none of which would be geographically close anywhere near here. So, and the the name of our school is the Indians.
Yeah.
And that has changed since I graduated in the last decade, but like when I graduated high school, there was a kid in my class who was Indigenous, who felt a strong connection to the culture of the Indigenous peoples who were located here and advocated very fiercely, and nobody listened. Yeah. You know, so like that was a very real 17-year-old boy who was affected by that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a good example. I mean, the Washington, what was it, the football team, right, just changed their name like a couple of years ago, right? This stuff is still very, being fought out. Oh, yeah, Robin, did you want to talk?
Yeah, I have relatives in the Blackfeet Nation, and over the years, I have heard many details of daily existence that is set up to keep them from prospering and moving forward. One thing that comes to mind is a friend of mine there on the Blackfeet Reservation was trying to start a small business and got a lot of capital generated from donations and stuff, and it was going really well. But in the end, he couldn't do it because they don't have federal mailboxes. The streets and addresses are not federally recognized. So he couldn't do his business, and it was a huge disappointment. So and I could go on like all day of the stuff that is just ingrained, that is made to sort of set them up for failure. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Robin. Yeah, it's a good point. I would imagine it would. Did Val have a hand up? Did we have some? I thought I saw somebody's hand up in the back here. Okay.
Well, I think it's important that people in this country recognize the way that we treated the Native Americans, and it needs to be taught in schools. I never learned in school how we eliminated the Native Americans out west by annihilating the buffalo. You know, and then when we want to give land back to them, we don't give them good land, we give them crappy land out in the western states in the Midwest. And we think we're helping them, but we're not.
Yeah.
So,
thanks.
I think not to take anything away from the Native Americans, sadly it's the indigenous people in every country around the world that have been mistreated by primarily Europeans moving in. But I think to move off of that and you mentioning buffalo made me think of it, is we need to learn to be respectful of the land, respectful of the animals. We have too many endangered animals nowadays. In the past month, 140 gray whales died in the Pacific, probably because of climate change. They don't really know what caused it. And so, dealing with the land, dealing with the waters, dealing with the air, that we really need to begin to be respectful of that, which is what the Native Americans have always taught.
Yeah. Thank you.
That respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Aviva says, street names, monuments, statues, holidays. It's important to recognize how deeply colonialism is baked into our everyday lives and unlearn it. A small step is to set up a recurring donation to the Onondaga Nation as we benefit from living on their land. That's a very good idea, Aviva. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right. Did I miss anybody? Do we have anybody else who wanted to share? I had a lot of people who wanted to share tonight. Okay, well, thank you everybody for your comments and for thinking about this with me. I think it's something that probably deserves further thought, and I'm glad that you were willing to come with me on this particular journey. But we're going to put a pin in it there, and we're going to turn back into the prayer book. We're going to turn to page 587. And I'd like to invite you to rise with us if you're able and comfortable doing so for Aleinu. There we go. Excellent.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורר עלינו להמליך מלכותו.
ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך המלכים
הקדוש ברוך הוא. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause the light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad.
All right, folks, feel free to have a seat. And we're going to turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. This week, we are remembering the yahrzeits of Sylvia Bergman, Max Friedman, Josephine Wilbur, Marilyn Freed, Bernard Ginsberg, Bonnie Lorraine Marks, Rose Friedman, Schmel Reitenberg, Frederick Zappert, Elliot Marcus, Dorothy Shagrin, and Sherman E. Rose. Please rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlik malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dachol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. I should also mention that just today we had a funeral over at West Lawn Cemetery for Richard Weiss, who is a long-term member of this community. So for him too, and for all those that we're praying for tonight, may their memories be for a blessing. All right, folks. Feel free to have a seat. And at this time, I'm going to invite Roz Antoon back up for a moment to give us a couple of announcements about what's going on here at the temple.
Okay, so we have the upcoming events and special services. We have Tuesday, July 14th is the general board meeting of Temple Concord. On Wednesday, July 15th at 10:30 in the morning, we have Rabbi Rachel's special program. We're trying this out to see how it does, see if people are interested. It's called Writing Biblical Fan Fiction. And I worked with Rachel on getting this going. I have no idea what she's doing, and but it should be interesting, so I hope anybody who's interested and knows about it, please come. If you don't know about it, come anyway, and we'll see where it goes. If it's a success, we'll plan some other ones down the line, and we hope it will be a lot of fun. We have a Social Action Committee meeting on Tuesday, July 21st at 7 here in the building. And we are asking, let me see, wait a minute. July 26th at 10:30, we have the Trinity Dinner. So we have We do a dinner every now and then. It's not every month anymore because they give us different dates. And so it's this one, Sunday, July 26th. And if anybody would like to come and help us to prepare the meal, feed people, sometimes 65 people, sometimes more come. And it's a very healthy and feel-good program. You're helping people. They enjoy coming. And when I finish doing it, I always feel it was worthwhile. So just keep a lookout in the emails and look for whatever is interesting to you, and please show up. The other thing I will say to you is this is the first time I've done an ONEG and been on the BEMA as a board member, and it's really lovely to see all of you here. It makes it very joyous to be here with us, a lot of people in the sanctuary.
Thanks a lot, Roz. I really appreciate it. All right. One last thing I'm going to actually add to what Roz was telling us is I want to so the high holidays are coming up. Rosh Hashanah is approximately 2 months from today. Right? And so pursuant to that, obviously many of us in this congregation are busily involved in various roles trying to make high holidays happen, as we do every year. But one thing I want to send out, a message I want to send out in particular, is that the Temple Concord Choir is looking for volunteers, right? We've got some great people who sang for us during the high holidays last year, and we're looking to expand that a little bit this year. So if you are at all interested in singing, and hey, who isn't really, right? I encourage you to volunteer. Direct any inquiries to Ross, right here, who is, again, organizing and directing the choir for this year. So, yeah, we're going to send out an email about it, but I just want to, make the announcement from here in case people don't see that.
No prior experience.
Please feel, if there's anything you want to add to that, then please do.
Everyone is welcome. Please join us.
And that is very much the case. Like Russ made a whole bunch of recordings to make it easier for people to learn the music, for people who don't read music. So it's a very accessible choir. Like what you've got in your head about like choir and how difficult it is, like it's not like that. It's very accessible. Like everybody is working together. There's no it's people of all different skill levels. So like really encourage people to volunteer if they have any little inkling that it might be something that they have a good time doing. All right, we're going to finish up on page 625 with Adon Olam. Here we go. Adon Olam Asher Mahalach B'Terem Kol Yitziv Nivra Ve'Yinasa V'Hafzol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei Kilot HaKol, Levado Kilot Nora, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Oleh, Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara, Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara. Shilo lehavira, veli reishi, veli tachlit, velo haoz vehamizra, velo haoz vehamizra, vehu eli vehai goali, vetzur veli veitzara, vehu nisi umanosli. Menat kosi beyom ekra, menat kosi beyom ekra, beyado afiru ki beyetishan, beyaira, beiru ki giliati, Adonai li velo ira.
velo ira. All right, Yasher Koach, guys. All right. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another musical Shabbat. And let's head on over into the social hall. Here you go. Cool.
Shabbat Shalom.